Hey friends, I'm back with part two of our backyard garden extension, our kitchen garden. Um, the garden itself, we put this in 2017, and the design, of course, is great. We have plenty of space, and we can get to all of the plantings. All of that is great. But we learned a very valuable lesson about how we put this garden in that I'm going to address today when we do the extension. As you can see back behind me, we have iron fences all the way around our yards. Only the homes on the lakeside have these iron fences all the way around. And the problem is grass that grows up around that iron fence. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Basically, how I'm addressing that issue. So let's get into it. We'll talk about, I'll show you what it looks like, what the problem is later on, so you can see, visualize it, and talk about how I'm going to deal with it. So, getting back to expanding the garden beds, I had to get this terrace board. Well, I didn't have to get it. I'm going to try this out along the fence line to see if it will keep grass from growing in through the iron fence. Here is a visual of what I mean. You can see there's grass growing up on the back side of the garden bed. Like, we've already killed that grass multiple times. Organically, of course. We used a mixture of vinegar, salt, and water. And then we had some chicken wire on that backside, and of course the grass just comes through that. So we took up the chicken wire that was originally meant to keep the rabbits out. We don't have rabbits anymore now that we have Lola, so we took that up. You guys, look, broccoli. That's so awesome. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's get back to this. So that's the visual of the grass coming up next to the iron fence. So I got this terrace board to try to help with that problem. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, excuse my hands, let's see if I can get a good picture of it. I'm just going to like line the outside or the inside portion of the fence with that. It's a very thin material. Let's see if I can show you. Look how thin that is. It's very, very thin. And it's very flexible. So my hope is that I can stick this, pound this down into the ground like such, straight up against that fence, and it will keep the grass from growing in up into the garden. So let's go take a look at how hard, I'm making it sound really simple, but let's go take a look at how that's actually going to work out. All right, so as you can see, I already have things marked out here. Basically what I'm going for, here's my fence line. I think I'm going to have to wet this area so that I can get this to go down into the ground, but this section is perfect. It's, for me to show you what I'm trying to do here. The goal, basically, is to take this terrace board all the way along the fence line, like such, and just cover that area completely, so that the grass can't grow from the other side through here. This part is interesting because it's already really low. We're going to cover up this grass with cardboard and other things anyway. But then when we get down further, it's not quite as low. So that's where I will tamp it into the ground a little bit so that it covers up. So that's the basic. Oh my God, that might be perfect. That might actually work. Sweetie, what do you think? You don't know if it'll work? I think that might actually work. Anyway, that's what I'm going for. So that's going to be the chore for today. So right now I'm pretty much just going along the fence line and not really making a trench. I'm just breaking up the St. Augustine grass because it grows like in runners. So I need to break that up so that I can have space to put the terrace board so that it will keep that grass from growing up into the garden. That's pretty much all I'm doing. got my trench dug on this side of the garden. That's the exit fence, and this section all the way down. I just wet it down a little bit, and we have St. Augustine grass. It grows by runners. So that was the hardest part of this part, is just cutting down through those runners. And now you can see all I needed was a little bit of a trench. And this bender board, this terrace board, will just sit right underneath there. And when we get the dirt in, that'll go right up against the fence actually, and we'll hold it in place. So we got the fence holding it in place on the back side, on this side, and we'll have dirt holding it in place on this side. And that's gonna go all the way down on both sides of the yard. And I think that's gonna work. Very excited because after how many? A year and a half? Finally getting to expand the garden. Okay. Stay tuned for the next part of this expansion. One last thing. When I get to the edge, this is a post in between two fence panels. So I don't necessarily need this terrace board in front of that post. So I'm just gonna cut it, and it's thin enough. It's sturdy enough to keep the grass out, but thin enough to just cut with a pair of sharp scissors. Or not a putty knife, what do you call it? A box cutter or a utility knife. So that's it for that. It's super, super simple. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna stick that around to the back side, and I'll trim it up from that back side later on, and then start over again right here. So that's it. All right, now to the next part of this project. As you can see, I finally got in all of my terrace board all the way along the fence line. And then I just have some bricks pressed up against, because the point is, like, that's not a gap right there. That's just leaning forward on me because there's no dirt. There's nothing to hold it up against the fence. Once we get the dirt in, it will be flush up against the fence, like you see here where the bricks are holding it in. So I've done that all the way across, except for here where we have access out to the lake. All the way down. And I've started putting down the cardboard. That's what I'm doing now. And again, using bricks to weight things down and watering it in really, really well. This is the part that's not so fun, just kind of watering down the bricks. And you can see I'm losing a lot of water down there. I don't like that. But I do have to water down the cardboard really, really well. And this is the side where I'm going to start to try the straw bale garden, and that has to be watered down really well also. And I'm going to have to put some dirt, some soil on top of that. But you can see where the straw is keeping that barrier up flush against the fence, and that's the goal all the way down to the other side. So I've gotten some cardboard down here, and even some of this is just paper. Those are actual paper grocery bags from Amazon Fresh, and then just big cardboard boxes all the way down. I don't have enough right now I probably have enough to go to the opening in the fence. So I'll do that today. And that doesn't mean that I need to go buy more stuff. I'm just going to go to the grocery store or to any big box store and just ask them for some boxes, rather than saying I need to go and buy more stuff so that I can have more boxes so that I can finish the garden. The whole point is to do the garden for next to nothing. That straw I had from, I think, like a Halloween display I did one time. So I have a couple of those, and then I have learned, you guys, to open my mouth and ask neighbors. I posted in the Nextdoor app, hey, does anybody know where I can get some cheap dirt or some straw? And people responded like crazy. So one lady gifted me some straw. It's over on the other side of the yard, up close to the house in my buggy. And then another, gave me places where she had seen that people were giving away dirt. She did say that by the time she got there, the dirt was no good, so I didn't worry with that. I have plenty of time to get that part of it done. In the meanwhile, Um, I do need to get this cardboard back down, and this is probably the easiest part of the whole process. I had these cardboard boxes out in the garage, and I always save cardboard because I do a lot of spray painting and projects and things, and these boxes are what I use to protect any surface, or even sometimes I do these things in the house and I need to protect the floors, so I keep the stuff in the garage. Like I said, this is the easiest part. All I do is just open it up and lay it out. And it's a lucky thing because most of these large cardboard boxes that I have are about the same length as a fence panel in between the stick posts. So it's almost perfect, except that, of course, I have to overlap. It's best to overlap the cardboard here. So this one is a little bit long. I'll just cut that extra off. Once I weigh it down, the bricks will be like right on the edge, and I'll just go along. Show you. I have a brick along the edge here. I'll just go along with my little box cutter and cut this section off just like that. Easy, breezy. Best part of the project. I think this is going to be the simplest part. So this is the next step, and I'm going to do that all the way down. Probably not today because I don't have enough cardboard to do it today, but at least this side of the garden I'll be able to get done. And then maybe next week I'll have enough cardboard to go down on the other end. And then the next step, of course, like I said before, is going to be wetting down the cardboard. So I feel very, very accomplished right now. And yes, I am breathing hard again. But I was able to get down cardboard, and on this end where I'm kind of tapering in to the opening, the entry to or exit to the lake there, I was able to get cardboard and thick paper bags, grocery bags, all the way down. And you can see I have water going here and bricks weighting things down. I have a few spots where I need to fill in, like here. Spots like that have to be filled in because we're trying to prevent the grass and weeds from growing up through that bottom layer. Most of this will be cut off because it's way too long. Like, it needs to be, you can see down there is how it's supposed to look. And I'm now starting to lay down bricks where the edge of the garden will be. So that tells you how much cardboard I'm going to cut off. And that's not going to go to waste. It's either going to go in my compost bin or I'm going to use it to cover up some of the gaps where there's a slit in the cardboard. So that's what I'm doing now. And then you guys, oh my God, the first section of my garden expansion will be done. And this is great because it's the extension that's off the original garden. So it will look much more like it's meant to be here. And then when I get over on the other side, it'll just be a continuation, and we will have more veggies and more flowers and more to eat and more to share and all the things. And it makes me very, very excited. So I'm just gonna finish laying out my bricks, and like I said, those are just a placeholder. Later on I'll come through and I'll level those off, and then when we get to a point where we're ready to put dirt in, everything will already be in place. And then on that other end I can go ahead and put more of my straw, but that's a job for another day. Today I'm gonna finish up these bricks on this side and it'll be a wrap. So there you have it, parts 1 and 2 of garden bed creation. Yes, we're creators. Pretty much done. I'm just going to go back in and trim the cardboard here like I showed you earlier. I'm going to do that all the way down, but that's pretty much it. We got the outline done. We have the cardboard down, and the bricks right now are simply in place to show us the basic outline of the garden bed. And that's it. Thank you for tuning in. I feel very, very accomplished. Let me know what you think in the comments about this method of starting or expanding a kitchen garden in your backyard.